2015 has provided a slew of new RPG releases, and in this video we take a look at the top 10 RPGs of 2015 so far. Number 10 is the open world survival horror game developed by Polish developer Techland, Dying Light. While Dying Light isn't a traditional RPG, it definitely does have a lot of RPG elements. The game is like more of an action RPG, but the game does offer a lot of content that you would find in an RPG. The story's pretty good, and the progression system is what's most similar to RPGs. Dying Light is by no means a perfect game, but if you're looking for a zombie game with a good progression system, a decent amount of content, it's gonna be right up your alley, and it's definitely a game worth checking out. Number 9 is the remaster of one of Square's best titles, and it's the Final Fantasy X/10-2 HD remaster on PS4. Now, this game was already remastered on the PlayStation 3 and the PlayStation Vita, and if you played either of those versions, there's not much more to get out of the PS4 version. But if you never played Final Fantasy X, now's the perfect time to get it on PS4. The game has an excellent story, and with the collection containing both Final Fantasy X and Final Fantasy X-2, you're gonna get a ton of content out of it. To beat both games, you're looking at 100 hours, and then to do everything, you're looking at well over 150 hours. Now, also keep in mind that this collection is just a remaster and not a full-on remake. FF10 was originally released on the PlayStation 2, and the game hasn't aged the best. There are some voice acting issues, but if you can get past that, there's a really good game here in FF10 and FF10 2. Number 8 is the tactical RPG Shadowrun Hong Kong, developed by Harebrained Scheme. This was a game that was funded through Kickstarter, and the initial funding goal was $100,000, and the campaign ended with over $1 million raised. Shadowrun Hong Kong is exclusive to PC, and it features isometric graphics with 3D models for the characters. The highlight of Shadowrun Hong Kong has to be its story. It's a really well-written story with a lot of backstory to the characters, and there's actually a lot to get invested in the world of Shadowrun Hong Kong. Sure, the visuals aren't the best, but if you're looking for a game to actually get invested into the story, Shadowrun Hong Kong is the game for you. The gameplay is also very good, but the standout of Shadowrun Hong Kong is the story, and that's a big reason you're getting into the game for. Number 7 is Final Fantasy Type 0 HD, a game that was never released in the States. It was originally exclusive to Japan, but we finally got the game, and a lot of people bought Final Fantasy Type 0 to get the Final Fantasy 15 demo called Episode Duskgate, but what a lot of people forgot is that Final Fantasy Type 0 is actually a very good RPG. While the game has definitely not aged well, keep in mind this was originally a PSP title that they're porting to the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One. Still, if you can get past some of the mediocre graphics and textures and some of the dated gameplay, you are gonna find a really good story in Final Fantasy Type 0 and some interesting gameplay mechanics. This is definitely not a game you should be paying $60 for. The only reason Square Enix was able to charge that kind of price was because of the aforementioned demo, but still, as a budget title, Final Fantasy Type 0 is worth your time, and if you're into the Final Fantasy series, this is a change of pace, and I think fans of the series are gonna enjoy the game. Number 6 is Dark Souls 2 Scholar of the First Sin, and just like Final Fantasy X, if you already played Dark Souls 2, there's not much reason to get Dark Souls 2 Scholar of the First Sin. But if you never played a Dark Souls game, Scholar of the First Sin is a really good jumping point. Scholar of the First Sin contains the original game and all its downloadable content and patches, and it's also a remastered port of the game, so it runs at 60 frames per second. The game plays really well, and at this point everyone knows what Dark Souls is all about. It's a very difficult game, but it's very rewarding as well, and it's a very fair game. If you never played Dark Souls, definitely give Scholar of the First Sin a look. Number 5 is the expansion pack to Final Fantasy XIV. It's Final Fantasy XIV Heaven's Ward. Over the last few years, Final Fantasy XIV has become one of the most popular MMOs around, and the quality of the game has only been amplified with the new expansion pack Heaven's Ward. The expansion includes an increased level cap, new zones to explore, flying mounts, a new class, just a lot of content in Heaven's Ward. Obviously, if you never played Final Fantasy XIV, give Final Fantasy XIV a look first. Be warned that you might get really invested into the game, and then you'll probably end up buying Heaven's Ward, and these MMOs always have a lot of content and a lot of time to put in. But nonetheless, Heaven's Ward is still one of the best RPGs around. Even though it's just an expansion, it's still well worth the money. Speaking of expansions, number 4 is also an expansion, Destiny the Taken King. In 2014, the original Destiny definitely launched with problems, but now at the end of 2015, Destiny has made a complete 180 and has become the game that a lot of people thought it would be. A big reason for that is the new expansion pack, The Taken King. Just like Heaven's Ward, The Taken King includes a lot of content, an increased level cap, simplified leveling, and just makes Destiny an overall better game. And the fact that you can get Destiny the Complete Edition, which includes the original game and Destiny The Taken King for $60 right now, is the perfect time to jump into Destiny. And once again, Destiny probably isn't your traditional RPG, it's more of a first-person shooter, but it's definitely got heavy RPG elements, and it's a game all RPG fans are gonna enjoy. Number 3 is the PC exclusive Pillars of Eternity. Developed by Obsidian Entertainment, Pillars of Eternity harkens back to classic RPGs like Baldur's Gate, and if you're into games like Baldur's Gate, you're definitely gonna enjoy Pillars of Eternity. It's not a game with breathtaking visuals like PC games are known for, but Pillars of Eternity is a game perfect for old-school RPG fans looking for a game similar to the aforementioned Baldur's Gate. The gameplay is more refined to appease a modern audience, and the game is just all around very good. If you're not into old-school RPG, RPGs and you're just into RPGs in general, still give Pillars of Eternity a look. It's one of the best RPGs of the year, and one of the best PC exclusives in a long time. Number 2 is the PS4 exclusive developed by From Software. It's Bloodborne. Bloodborne is the latest entry in the Souls series. Yes, it doesn't have Souls in the name, but we all know what kind of game Bloodborne is. It's very similar to the Souls games, and it's arguably the best game out of them all, and Bloodborne thus far in the console generation is probably the biggest console exclusive either console has. The game has gorgeous visuals, great gameplay, and the gameplay is also very fluid, and the game also has a lot of content and a lot of replayability. There's also some DLC coming out soon, so if you do enjoy the game a lot, you can pick that up later, but don't get too scared. Bloodborne has a lot of content in the game itself. It's not like DLC is a mandatory thing. And if you have a PS4, really, Bloodborne is a game that you have to check out. It's one of the best titles on the console, and it's a system seller for the console for a reason. And finally, number 1, it's CD Projekt Red's The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. The Witcher 3 is a conclusion to Geralt's tale and proves to be one of the best single-player experiences in gaming history. When you look at The Witcher 3, to me, The Witcher 3 embodies a perfect single-player game. The game has a lot of content, it has gorgeous visuals, it has a giant world to explore. The story is excellent, which is something a lot of open-world games really miss on. The voice acting is fantastic. Everything about The Witcher 3 is just great. Outside of some frame rate issues on the consoles and some graphical hiccups on the consoles as well, the game is near perfection, and it's a game that every gamer has to check out, and it's the end to one of the best trilogies in gaming history, so definitely check out The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. It's one of the best games of all time, and in 2015, it's the best RPG thus far. So thank you for watching our countdown of the top 10 RPGs of 2015 so far. Keep in mind, as of the recording of this video, Fallout 4 has not been released yet, or else that game would definitely be on this list, but we will have an updated list by the end of the year, so definitely stay tuned for that, and we will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.